and welcome to another issue of KP Knitcraft Explains It All. We're going to go over a couple of different things today. Some of it's techniques, some of it's ways to make knitting easier on yourself, and we're going to do a little bit of a safety protocol. So you can see we're in a different place today. We are not in my studio. The lighting in my studio can get a little iffy at best. It's something that I'm constantly struggling with. So we've come out to the kitchen today because I have this wonderful counter. And you can see it's a really dark surface. Now in 90% of the videos that you watch, you're going to have a really light surface with really light yarn up against it. But today I want to talk about knitting with those darker colors and what you can do to combat that, or the eye strain that comes with that. But first and foremost, I want to break a bad habit. And a lot of us have it, okay? And that is the idea that you need to be sitting at a table or at a counter to knit, okay? A lot of the videos out there portray teachers sitting at, a little studio table or an actual table or at their kitchen counter like I am now. And I'm going to pan my camera back a little bit, and I kind of want to show you the reason why I'm warning you against this. Okay, so sorry for the jiggle. So we're going to come all the way back to the edge of my counter. So here's the edge of my counter. You can see my lap's down here. What happens, and we see it all the time in these videos, is you see somebody sitting with their arms right up against the edge of the counter, or with their elbows up. Okay, now this is really, really bad. And take it from somebody who has been hand knitting for a little over 30 years and now has major problems from doing this for so long. There is a nerve that runs from the tip of your pinky all the way down the back of your arm, through your elbow, and up into your shoulder. It's known as the ulnar nerve. All right, it's the sister nerve to the median nerve, which runs right through the middle of your wrist. Now this one causes carpal tunnel, and we see it most often in people who work on computers because they're sitting like this and pushing their wrist into the edge of their desk. And what they're doing is they're pinching that nerve but continuing to move. All right, as knitters, we have a propensity to do the exact same thing on the ulnar nerve. Now, the symptoms of having problems with that, or having pinched it too long or too often, is that these two fingers and this side of your hand will go numb. You can have pain in your elbow and in your shoulder. And those are all symptoms of having pinched that nerve. So how do you combat it? Well, the easiest way is to tell you, get away from the table, okay? And if you've ever taken a beginner's class with me and been told, back your chair up 1 foot, that is so that you don't start with this bad habit. But when you're knitting, sometimes the lighting isn't great, maybe your yarn's a little dark, and you've got an armrest, and you put that elbow up on the armrest, and then you lean to the side because that's where your light is, and then this arm is coming way around to get to your knitting needle. Those are all bad things to do. So let me go up a little bit here so you can actually see. So I actually just did this to myself about a week and a half ago. I was knitting in my husband's office, and my husband doesn't like the overhead light on because it puts a glare on the TV. I know, first world problems. However, he's got a little desk lamp that sits off to my left, and it's fairly bright, so it works. But I was knitting black lace. Now we all know black. Black is that color that most of us try to stay away from. I, however, don't stay away from it at all. I use it constantly because I love it. But what I ended up doing was I was sitting in an armchair, and I would put my elbow on that chair, and then I would lean to the left to get closer to the light. And what happened was my right hand had to come all the way across my body to get here to knit. As a result, what happened was not only did I truncate the ulnar nerve in my left arm, but I overworked my shoulder by having to have it way up to get way over. And because I'm a continental knitter, it's a micro movement to knit. English knitters don't have as big of a problem in their shoulder because they have that big throw. So you're actually moving and rotating your shoulder much more than a continental knitter does. So check your posture. I'm not saying that we need to strap you to a board and you need to be upright. From here on out, when I am shooting a hand knitting video, I am going to be in a recliner because I don't want you guys to pick up bad habits simply because this is the way these videos are shot. All right. You probably don't sit at a table. I'm not going to sit at one either. All right. I like to be comfortable when I knit. However, you have to pay attention to what your body is doing. If you're a beginner and you have sat for too long and you have gotten that knot under your shoulder blade because you haven't gotten up and moved around, you know precisely what I'm talking about. That micro movement does cause synapses in your muscles, but they're very small synapses. So they can cause pain. You can damage your body from knitting. So my suggestion is always get up every 20 minutes and move around. If you can't remember, we almost all have these lovely, lovely, handy-dandy computers in our pockets that you can set a timer on. Set a timer for 20 minutes, get up, move around. My favorite is laundry. I've got a family of 4, man. We've got some laundry. Plus animals, which I'm sure will make an appearance here at some point, because I am not behind a door right now. Laundry is great because it's on a timer. You have to get up and you have to move. Whether you're reaching into a front loader or into a top loader, you're flexing and moving your arms quite a bit when you're swapping a load of laundry, or when you're folding, or when you're hanging things up. And it kind of gets you into that rhythm of, oh, I've got 45 minutes until the load is done. I'm going to knit for 45 minutes. And then you're going to get up and you're going to spend 15 to 20 minutes dealing with the load that you started previously. If you don't have laundry to do, go back to grade school and think arm windmills. You know, stretch them out, put them up above your head, maybe do a little jazz hands, anything to get the blood flowing and get the muscles warm because you've been sitting there for so long. And if you wonder what kind of damage you can actually do, my right shoulder crunches when I rotate it because of knitting. I see a massage therapist every 3 weeks who, luckily for me, puts me back together and keeps me going, and is helping me actually avoid surgery in that shoulder. And that's just from doing this for so long and not paying attention to my posture while I was doing it. So take a minute to assess how you knit and see if you have any of these bad habits. And if you do, make a conscious effort to fix them. Otherwise, you're going to have more problems later on, and eventually it's going to hurt way more than you want it to.